Hello.
Hi,
Hey, what's your name?
Charlie
Charlee McCarter.
Charlie McCarter. What's your mama's name?
McCarter.
That's right, Marie McCarter.
Well, thank you so much, Charlie, for letting me make a call to you and your mom. Marie, my class was wanting to know, what is GA1?
GA1 is a metabolic disorder.
That
means that she can't process lysine and tryptophan, which is in protein. So we basically have to have a limited protein diet for her. And if we don't, it can build up in the brain and it can cause basically a stroke. So that's all we try to do. We're trying to prevent a stroke. She's already had what they call a metabolic crisis before she was born. So our lives are spent trying to make up for the damage that's already there and to prevent further damage in the brain.
Okay. And it's a genetic disorder, so she didn't catch it or anything like that.
Right. And because it's a genetic disorder, we have a lot of people ask us, well, is she ever going to get over it? No, it's in her genes. It's in her DNA. She's not going to get over it. But as she gets older, hopefully it won't affect her as much. Her brain will be developed and hopefully she won't have another stroke, but it's a lifelong thing.
Okay. So you mentioned it was in proteins, like amino acids and proteins. So how do y'all, help her not have a stroke?
So we have a low protein diet that she's on. How many times can you eat meat every day? Once a day she can have meat, and she has to have a lot of carbohydrates and sugars. If she gets sick, then the body will release protein on its own from your muscles. And so that also will cause you to have higher protein in the body. And that's very dangerous for her. It can cause the stroke that we talked about. So if she ever gets sick, we have to go to the hospital, and she's on an IV that pumps sugar into her bloodstream so that she doesn't decompensate basically and release those proteins.
Oh, wow. So if she gets sick with a normal, like the flu or something like that, it could cause
any kind of normal sickness that can cause dehydration through throwing up, or if she gets a fever, those are really dangerous for her. So we have to go to the hospital for those kinds of things. If we can't keep her fever down at the house, then we have to go in, and that's kind of been our lives. And it's not really fun, to be honest with you, but she's doing well. So we're thankful for modern medicine.
Absolutely. So it's genetic. Does that mean you and Mark are both have GA1 or what?
Mark and I don't have GA1, but we are carriers, and it's possible that one of us has GA1. We don't really know because we haven't done a DNA test for us. We've just done that for Charlie. But we're pretty sure that we don't, because we would have shown symptoms by now if we had it.
How about anybody in your family, like your parents or grandparents or anything like that?
We don't think so. We've talked to our geneticists. They've asked us a lot of background questions, and we don't think that we have anyone that actually has GA1, which is both of the genes together. We think we just have carriers in our family.
Wow. So it's pretty rare then, GA1?
Yes, because you have to have both of those genes. And so, even if we had another child together, that child may or may not have GA1. And so we're not willing to take the risk because we already, have our hands full. But yeah, it's very rare.
How about if Charlie, when she has kids one day, will they be more susceptible to have it or what?
Well, she has two genes, so she's going to give one of those to her children. And if her spouse has GA1 or is a carrier, then it's possible. But if her spouse doesn't have a gene for that, then they will not have it. They'll just be carriers. So I think that it'll be important for them to be tested and to know. And if they have children, they can test and figure that out too. And I always encourage, if there's someone in my family who's having a child, to make sure that they are tested for GA1, just to be sure.
Does GA testing go on in every state and whenever you have a kid, or do you have to ask for it?
Well, it's not in all 50 states. I think all 50 states do a newborn screen. So they will prick the heel of the baby, and they'll take that blood and they'll do a newborn screen, and they're testing for a lot of different things. But on that panel, it's not always GA1. So I know in Alabama and Florida, they do test for it, but last I checked, they don't test in all 50 states. So, it would be important to ask specifically for that one if they don't.
Cool. Well, Charlie, thank you so much for being on our call.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
What's your favorite game?
Candyland.
You like Candyland? Me too. Well, that's cool. Well, thank you so much. Can you wave to my 9th grade?
Bye.
And we'll see you later. Thanks so
Bye.
much.